Stop strategy hopping every 5 seconds and open your eyes. Something is happening right now. Bitcoin is sitting at a level that has mattered every single time this cycle. Price is sitting on long-term trendline support. There is no aggressive move here, no expansion, no overreaction, just price pausing right where it should not pause for long. And whenever the market goes quiet at important levels, that is usually when the real move is on the horizon. Let's go! I'm watching how Bitcoin behaves here very closely because this reaction is going to tell me whether this move continues or whether the market needs one more reset before continuation. There is also a clear Ethereum idea forming right now. It's not active and I am not touching it yet. But the structure is there. And in this video, I will show you exactly what I'm waiting for and why patience matters more than action. Before we go any further, if you appreciate real-time market thinking instead of hindsight explanations, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. Now, let's get into it. Quick macro context, because this part is being overlooked. Tokenized assets just reached a new all-time high market cap at $327.3 billion. That is not retail hype. That is TradFi quietly moving infrastructure on-chain while most people aren't even paying attention. Wow, very interesting. At the same time, the White House Bitcoin Reserve Initiative is still active. But it's not simple. Legal talks are still ongoing, and under the current framework, growth is limited to asset seizures rather than open market buying. That's right, folks. I'm going to take your Bitcoin if I don't like you. Just like stupid Powell. He bought a Bitcoin. You'd think he'd buy more, but he only had one. And I seized it, and it's now part of the fund. That's why he made that video the other day, because he's mad. Don't pay attention to that video. Powell's a scam, folks. All right, so this is not a flip the switch moment, but it is a slow build. So you want to pay attention. And then there's the cultural signal. President Trump said people will be allowed to pay with Bitcoin.
I sometimes will let people pay through Bitcoin, or will let people get involved in a new. If you think of it, it's an additional form of currency. And I used to say, I want.
That's right, folks. You can pay in Bitcoin. You can pay your rent. You can pay your bills, folks. But if you don't pay your rent, especially at one of the Trump properties, then you're going to go to court in New York, just like the guy from Venezuela. You're going to face an eviction notice, folks. All right, enough bad Trump impressions. That alone does not move price, though. But the fact that price is not going nuts on that statement tells me something important. This narrative is being absorbed, not chased. And markets that absorb news quietly tend to take their time. But eventually, these catalysts compound, and the next thing you know, we're at new all-time highs. Now, let's look at Bitcoin itself. On the higher time frame, Bitcoin is sitting right on top of its long-term trendline support. This is not a new level. Every time price has interacted with this trend line during this cycle, momentum shifted shortly after. Not instantly, but consistently. That historical behavior matters very much, people. This is why this level matters to me. Not because of an objective, not because of a forecast, but because this is where the market decides whether it is comfortable probing higher prices or whether it needs more liquidity first. And right now, price is taking its time to choose. On the daily chart, something important is occurring, and you need to know. When Bitcoin entered consolidation, a lot of people expected a deeper pullback. That never came. Demand was strong enough that price broke the consolidation and swept the buy-side liquidity above. Now, price is fluctuating in the $93,000 area. If Bitcoin holds and sustains above this zone, continuation toward 100K and potentially 102K becomes a valid scenario. But if this level does not hold, there's a very clear alternative, and that alternative is not bearish, it's rotational. On the 2-hour chart, something constructive is taking place. Price pushed through a prior bearish order block and held above it. That tells me the bears have failed. And at the same time, the 94,500 area has now been tested multiple times. And the price behavior is revealing that the underlying behavior is changing. What used to act as resistance is now attempting to act as support. Repeated tests without rejection always gets my attention. That is how structure flips. Most people right now are trying to forecast whether Bitcoin is bullish or bearish. I'm more interested in who gets trapped first, because this is exactly the kind of market that punishes impatience. Now, let's talk about Ethereum. On the daily chart, Ethereum has rejected the $3,400 level twice. That tells me supply is active here. When supply is active above and demand is sitting below, the higher probability scenario is not chasing strength. It's letting price consume the sell side liquidity first. There's also an alternative scenario. If price trades above 3,400 or even 3,500, holds there, and then retests, resistance can flip into support. That would open a breakout retest continuation setup. Either way, the rule stays the same. We wait for confirmation. On the 4-hour Ethereum chart, this is just still an idea. I'm waiting for the week to start because the low volume is just not worth it. Price needs to consume liquidity, tap the order block, and show reaction. Until that occurs, I'm doing nothing, and I am completely comfortable with that. Just want to point out, when you're looking at a situation like this, keep in mind, this is the ideal scenario. The market chooses its own path. So as a trader, we must have an open mind and be prepared to adjust if the market shows us another look. Right now, you have areas like this, these previous congestion zones that may act as support as well, and price may not get all the way back to the order block. That would be ideal. So while I'm waiting for that, I am also prepared for an adjustment if the market throws that my way. Quick update on the trade challenge. The account is currently sitting just under $10,500. That is a gain of $499.23, or basically 4.99%. 2 trades taken so far, both winners, one on render and one on link. The next potential trade is Ethereum, and I'm waiting patiently for price to come to me. When you connect everything, Bitcoin is maintaining long-term trendline support. Momentum is aligning with historical continuation zones. Daily demand continues to be strong. Clear retracement levels are defined. Ethereum is rejecting resistance with demand below. Tokenization is accelerating. Bitcoin adoption continues to normalize. This is not a market that rewards impulse. It is a market that rewards patience. All trades in this challenge are done on WeX. Every trade is tracked using profits precision so the process stays transparent. And all updates are shared live in my free Telegram channel. Links are in the description, people. I do not need excitement here. What I need is confirmation. So now we wait and let the structure decide the next move. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one.